to the sergeant's room, and the door is open. So I walk right in, and he's chatting with somebody. I said, "Hey, Sarge, what's the idea?" He says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, soldier." He says, "What's the matter? What's your problem?" Besides, he said, "You don't walk in here, you knock." I said, "Well, the door was open." He said, "Do you know how to knock?" So then I calmed down. And he says, "What's your problem?" I said, we cleaned up, you praised us, and you put us on latrine duty again 2 days in a row? That's not fair." He said, "Look, soldier, a lot of things aren't fair." He said, "But I'm having an inspection today at around 11 o'clock, and he says, I want to show the command what a fine group of fellas you are." So I was there. So I turn around, and he says, "You don't have to knock when you go out." So I went out and forgot about the incident. No, not quite. As we start to clean up again, my fella, he starts to grab the polish. I says, "Get out of here, take a rag and just dust it." And we just did a casual job on the whole thing. Sure enough, at 11 o'clock, the brass comes in. The colonel sticks his head in, goes, and walks out. So we got away with it. That was my first encounter with the Army as such. Then I began to worry. That night, Wednesday night, Carolyn drove Mary and Paul Casper's mother down to see us, and we were so glad to see somebody, family, that is. Then I got
down to where, Dad?
Fort Dix.
Fort Dix.
Fort Dix. Yeah. Oh, I should have mentioned that. This is the reception center.
Okay.
That's not. This is just an indoctrination into the Army, uniforms and whatnot.
Were you engaged?
What?
Were you and Mommy engaged?
No.
She was just your girlfriend?
What?
She was just your girlfriend?
A special one. And then on Sunday afternoon, she was going to drive them down again. But the KP assignments weren't posted. And the guard, not the guard, some other assignments weren't posted, and I was afraid I'd get stuck on one of those and wouldn't be able to meet with them. But it didn't happen that way. They came down that Sunday and stayed into the twilight, and that's when your mother and I talked, and that's when we decided that when I'd get out in 1 year, we would consider marriage.
Oh.
So
That's when you got engaged.
It was a proposal. And that was very nice. Well, Fort Dix lasted around. Oh, and I got shots. You get your shots. You're not you're in the Army, and you're not in civilian life. It's just the beginning. So then that next Tuesday, there's a notice posted that tomorrow you're quarantined. No off post, no visitors. That's it. And then you shuffle off. But to me, that life was terrible. I had always had a room of my own, ever since I could remember. But to sleep with 20 or 30 soldiers, and with their habits, with their snoring, starting, getting up in the night and so forth, so on, and then going to sharing the shower and the kitchen and the bathroom sinks. So many people standing in line, and nobody had electric razors then. Then you had the soap and whatnot.
Sure.
And but you had to have hygiene, and you were examined to be sure that you shaved, and you were given haircuts also, I might say, a GI haircut.
Yep, just done.
So then we're standing ready to go. We bundle our civilian clothes in a bag with a label on it to be shipped home, and then we're standing outside information, and you count off by threes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then you marched off to a train. 1 and 2 get the upper bunks. The number 3 get the lower bunk. Wait, the opposite. 1 gets the upper bunk. 2 and 3 get the lower bunk. That's just 2 of them had to sleep there. That was the first time in my life I had ever slept with anybody. So it was awful. I was twisting and turning, and so was my partner. I don't even know who he was.
So what
Anyway,
bump did you get?
The bottom.
You got the bottom?
Okay.
yeah, I was another good question. I was number 2 or 3. Then on the train, again, they give assignments out. Fort Bragg is an overnight assignment from Fort Dix. So,
Fort Bragg is in North Carolina.
what?
North Carolina?
Middle of North Carolina. No.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Fort Dix is where?
New Jersey.
Trenton,
Is in New Jersey,
outside
okay.
Trenton. Well, anyway, we get there, and they ask us to line up, and then we discover that in our train there was not only somehow we had picked up another train that came in with troops from Pennsylvania and New York. So this was just a coincidence. Then some officer walks out and he says, "You men," he says, "are going to be fillers for your year, for your term in the 112th Field Artillery." Well, that didn't mean a thing to me. That was a National Guard outfit. I think you all know what the National Guard is.
Mm-hmm.
They had an outfit in Morristown.
Yep.
I think they had one in Somerville. They had one scattered through the whole state. And in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania, it wasn't Guard. They were regular draftees, and draftees were the same from Pennsylvania. Well, anyway, we were bundled off, and I had, my assignment was Battery A. Now, Battery A, and then I discovered, rather they told, we were horse-drawn artillery. The Germans had tanks.
So let's
that's-
just clarify that. At the very beginning of World War II, we were still potentially
That's
fighting
what-
with horses.
And then, in fact, I'll tell you about my first uniform. First uniform they gave us were these stratus bandages. You know, have you ever seen them?
Like khakis. I think I've seen pictures of
Yes.
you in them. Yeah.
There's a name for them.
Oh yes,
It's like
they look
jodhpurs.
like World War One.
It's like jodhpurs.
That's
yeah.
what
Yes.
our first
It's like
uniforms
jodhpurs, yeah.
were. But they changed them there at Fort Dix and issued us the regular uniform and told us how to wear them. Well, anyway, I was in Battery A, and Battery A was to train me. So Battery A had a little indoctrination of how to handle horses, marching, so forth, so on, and it was all hogwash. I didn't fall for any of it.
You had a horse though. You were actually trained on a horse.
Well, that 1 week that I was there, they had us in the corral, and we were taught how to saddle a horse, and how to mount a horse, and ride him around. That's all.
Huh.
I had no problem doing it, although I had never ridden a horse before. But some of those poor fellas just couldn't do it. Well, anyway, that was for 1 week. But the Army Guard soldiers were good soldiers. They knew their business, but they were not instructors.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to show us how to handle the pistol, hand weapon arms, and he put a towel in the middle of the lawn, and he says, "Gather around. Now this is how you do this." And he says, I can assemble and disassemble this firearm blindfolded, put blindfolds on, and did it. Now, that isn't teaching me anything.
Right, it's just show and
And
tell.
they went through many of the other features the same way. Then I get my assignment the following Monday. Now, your mother did not come down then to Fort Bragg. And my assignment was Stable A. So I go to Stable A, and the man hands me a pitchfork, a broom, and a pail. And he says, "Those 2 stalls over there are yours.
Muck 'em
And
out.
you'll have to pick the horses out by name and bring them in here and so forth and take them. They're yours for a while, and we'll teach you the rest of it." So I'm busy mopping up, cleaning. Again, I'm still sincere. When he calls my name out, he didn't even know who I was. He called, "Geiger, who's Geiger around here?" So I says, "You're one of the headquarters." So I said, what do they want me for? He says, did you take out insurance? And I said, yeah. He says, they probably wanted more information on it. We had somebody else have the same thing happen. You can walk through the fields, go through the field. Now, I'm in these stinking dungarees. And I mean, I was stinking from the
Right.
manure and crap in there. And I walk up to this
Jeez.
building, and I'm ready to knock on the door, but the door is open. But this is a regular building around as big as this house. And I walk in, and there's typewriters going like mad, and there are soldiers there, nicely dressed in uniform. It's the headquarters. And the headquarters of any outfit is elite. That's the show-off spot. And I walk over, and I see one soldier there typing, and I said to him, who's Sergeant Bakey? I'm supposed to report to Sergeant Bakey. So he yells out, hey, Bakey, there's a jerk over here to see you. The jerk wants to see you. And he just goes, come on. And there's this fellow with big, thick glasses and nicely dressed uniform. And he's sorting mail. And mail is spread out on the counter, and he's going like this. And he comes over and he says, you a mail clerk? And I said, yes. He says, see that mail over there? He says, let me see you sort it. There's the case, just like that. And I said, yeah, sure. He says, no, he says, I'm stuck. He says, I can't handle all this alone. I'm stuck. Let me see you handle this. So I just stand there, and I'm studying the case. And it was simple. Battery A, B, C, headquarters, supply, 2nd Battalion, and so forth. Simple. So he says to me, he says, what are you standing there for? I told you to sort the mail. I says, I got to know where I'm throwing it. And he didn't say anything. Then I asked one of the typists there if I could borrow his sponge. And in no time, I had the whole case sorted. And he's amazed. And then he says, here, take some more. So I got some more. And he takes a pair of scissors to cut the twine. I said, get out of here. And I took it from the post office, and I just ripped it off and set it up, and was done with that in no time. Then he says, well, let me see you work the newspapers and the magazines. Well, there weren't many of them because we were only there a few days. And in no time, we were all finished. Then he says to me, he says, we need a mail clerk, do you? And before I says, yes, I'll take it.
But that was the defining moment for you.
It was.
Because if you hadn't had that serendipitous encounter, you would have gone to North Africa, Asia.
I'm getting to that,
Yeah.
because that comes up too. So then he says, tomorrow morning, he said, put your Class A's on, that's your best uniform, shine shoes, and he says, come here at 8 o'clock. So I reported there at 8 o'clock, ahead of time. And the headquarters building was nice. It had a private bathroom, and it was clean, and the soldiers there were in Class A uniforms, and they were a very congenial bunch. And the mail room was off in one corner, one far corner.
So you had to move your living quarters too?
What?
You moved your living quarters too?
Oh yeah, that's what he said too. I missed that part of it. See, it's good for you guys to butt in. He says, go back to your stable, and he says, don't go to the stable. He says, go to your first sergeant. He says, we will have communicated with him, and they're going to move your footlocker and everything over to headquarters and headquarters.
Wow.
And it was quite a bit of difference.
This was a nice promotion.
Yeah, this was
Yeah.
great.
It sure was.
Did you have to sleep with 20 people, or did you have your...
No, that part was the same.
Okay.
Maybe only 15, but it was a different.
Clientele?
Class.
Well, no, everybody had they were all specialists there.
Okay.
See, the first night, in fact, we introduced ourselves. One fellow was an expert in radios. Another one was a telephone man. Another one was some specialty. All specialists. See, this is headquarters and headquarters of an army regiment. A regiment is around 1,500 people. So then the following morning I reported in, and then Sergeant Bakey came with me in a truck. The driver knew the